welcome to our next van life adventure. We are so excited for this one. This is a park that we've been really looking forward to coming to see. So let's go explore another slice of God's beautiful creation, and let's go see Big Bend National Park. So we're here in Big Bend National Park for 5 nights. We actually left Tilly at a dog sitter up in El Paso, similar to when we were at Guadalupe Mountains and Carlsbad Caverns. We just didn't want to have to stress with her with the heat and having to leave her in the van and wanting to go on hikes. So we just thought it was going to be easiest if we left her with a sitter. But our goal over the next 5 days is really just to explore as much of this park as we can. We're actually going to be sleeping in 4 different spots over the course of the week. Some of them are going to be out in the backcountry. 2 of the nights are going to be in the Chisos campground. I'm hoping to do some photography. Big Bend is actually famous for being a dark sky park, and we timed our visit here to coincide with a new moon. So we should have some really dark skies. Hoping to do some astrophotography in the middle of the night, try to capture the Milky Way. So yeah, we're just really excited to see this national park. So let's get going. So Big Bend is a pretty big national park. It can be a little intimidating to try to plan if it's your first time visiting. There's 3 main areas of the park that people tend to visit. There's the Maxwell Scenic Drive, which is the road that comes along down in through here and ends at the Santa Elena Canyon. There's also the Chisos Basin area where a lot of the popular hikes leave from. There's a campground there. And then there's also the Rio Grande Village over on this side of the park. So our plan is for the first night, we're going to camp here at a backcountry site off the Old Maverick Road, pretty close to the Santa Elena Canyon. The Old Maverick Road is a dirt road that connects the Maxwell Scenic Drive back up to the main highway near Maverick Junction. The next 2 nights we're going to be spending at the Chisos Basin, and we're going to be staying at the campground there. That's where we'll be doing some hikes from. Our 4th night is going to be spent up on the Grapevine Hills Road. There's some backcountry sites up here, and we're going to be staying at site number 4 at the very end of the road. And then our final night is going to be on the Old Ore Road. There's a site somewhat near the start of the Old Ore Road that we're going to be sleeping at. A lot of these sites, you can't book in advance. There are some that are available on recreation.gov, but most of these sites have to be booked in person at the Panther Junction Visitor Center. The rangers really want to assess whether your vehicle is capable of getting to those sites, but we're really excited to explore some of these backcountry sites and also just to be able to see so many different sections and areas of the park. Our first area to check out in the park is the Maxwell Scenic Drive. This is a beautiful drive with many incredible views of the Chisos Mountains and other beautiful formations along the way. The drive is 30 miles in length one way and finishes at the Santa Elena Canyon. We definitely felt the heat of the park on this drive though, as temps got up to over 105 degrees. As I mentioned, we finished the scenic drive at the Santa Elena Canyon. We timed this to be here just shortly before sunset. This is an incredibly narrow canyon that was carved out by the Rio Grande River with canyon walls over 1,500 feet tall, with one side of the canyon being in Mexico. There's a short 1.6 mile trail that takes you into the canyon, which is definitely worth doing to get a feel for the scale of the canyon. This is a beautiful spot. After sunset, we drove to our backcountry camping site, which was just down the Old Maverick Road. This is a beautiful and remote spot. Standing outside, there wasn't a sound to be heard, and the dark night sky was absolutely incredible. Well, we've come down to the Santa Elena Canyon, which is only about a 10-minute drive from where we slept last night at that boondocking spot. Gonna just try to see if we can get some light on the canyon walls here. It was actually a pretty sunrise looking out to the east. This is actually looking more to the southwest, so we should get some of the light hitting the canyons once the sun comes up. I did get up in the middle of the night to do some astrophotography, try to capture the Milky Way. It's been a while since I've done some astrophotography, so probably a little rusty. Last night was probably just a little bit of a practice run. I'll look at my photos later, make some adjustments. We'll have some opportunities later in the week to give it another go. But it was still fun. The stars were just so brilliant. It was just so quiet, so really enjoyed it. But we're looking forward to just continuing to explore the park today. Well, we made it to the Chisos Basin campground. We're actually going to be based here the next 2 nights, so we're looking forward to it. It's actually about 10 degrees cooler up here than the rest of the park. It's just about lunchtime right now, and it is a cool 80 degrees. But yeah, we're just looking forward to being based here the next couple of days. There's a lot to explore, a couple trails that we're looking forward to doing. This evening we enjoyed the sunset from the Window View Trail, which is a very short trail from the Chisos Basin area. The view looks down to a gap in the mountains that is called the Window. This is a beautiful spot to watch the sunset, and I had a ton of fun doing some photography. Today is a hiking day here for us at the Chisos Basin area. Our ambitious plan for today begins with hitting the trail at 5:45 a.m. with a 7-ish a.m. sunrise time. Our plan today is twofold. First and overall is to hike the South Rim Trail. This is a 12.5-mile loop trail that ascends over 2,400 feet in elevation gain. Our second goal, though, is to do some bird watching once we get up to the top to an area called Boot Canyon, as there is a very rare bird that can only be found in the U.S. in this very spot. It is the Kallima warbler, and it is a highly sought-after bird for birders. We figured if we are doing this trail anyway, we might as well try to find the Kallima if we can. These birds can be quite shy though, but we did speak to several others over the past day or so that did have luck in spotting a handful. This is a pretty ambitious hike for us, so we've been sure to pack plenty of water and food, and it's also why we chose to hit the trail so early. Well, we finished the hike. I have to say it was a pretty tough one, but we made it. We ended up logging about 13 miles in total, and it actually took us just a little over 12 hours, mainly because we spent about 3 hours or so birding up there. We were a little worried we weren't going to find the Kallima, but we eventually did. Let me just pause here and say, yes, we did find the Kallima. Unfortunately, it was only one, and I only got one really blurry photo. I'm going to show you the photo here. You're probably going to think this isn't that very exciting of a bird. You'll actually notice some bands on its leg. We actually met the team from Texas Tech that just earlier that morning had caught this bird and put those bands on for tracking purposes. Plus, we saw a ton of other birds, some that we had never seen before. So All in all, it was a good hike. It was really beautiful, especially from the south rim. The views looking out were spectacular. So yeah, it was tough, but we enjoyed it. We're pretty exhausted now, so we're gonna call it an early day, but looking forward to more adventures tomorrow. Well, that's actually it for this week. You're gonna have to stay tuned to next week for part 2 of our adventures in Big Bend National Park. There's so much more for us to explore, and I'm so excited to show you what we get up to in the second part here. We have a beautiful sunrise hike coming up and some more astrophotography. So check in next week for part 2 of this episode. Well, that's it for now. We'll see you on the road next time, and may God bless you.